Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. This subject is just bad, period. There are scams out there, but this one by far ranks right up there as probably the worst. What am I talking about? Payday and car title loans. You're talking about absolute robbery, and please do anything you can to avoid using these instruments. I know some of you are forced to do this. And I'm going to discuss a little bit about the topic, how bad the payday loan industry is, and maybe some alternatives. But if you can avoid using these thieves, then do so. But with that being said, let's just go into this. What to know about payday loans? They're just really bad. 300% annual interest. I thought credit cards were bad. Nothing compares how bad these payday loans are. They're horrible. And I'm going to use a word that, this industry is just a bunch of, and in short, they just provide very expensive loans and they can trap you in debt. What to know about payday loans? Payday loans are small, short-term loans. They're usually for $500 or less and typically have to be repaid within 2 to 4 weeks. Also called cash advance loans, they are legal in many states. To get a payday loan, you just give the lender a personal check for the amount you want to borrow, plus the lender's fees. Or you authorize the lender to electronically debit the loan amount plus fees from your bank, credit union, or prepaid card account. Never ever give one of these thieves any information, period. There's a zillion of them on, it seems like every strip mall has one of these cockroaches, and some shop around, not only for the rate, but for someone that will provide you the money with the least amount of information possible. They're thieves, so why don't you counter them with something that will allow you to at least get some advantage, all right? They have all the advantage because you need. So then we're going to talk about perhaps how you can redirect what you're spending your money on and maybe find an alternative. If you don't repay the loan on time, the lender can cash the check or electronically withdraw money from your account. You see, here's the problem. They have this, you give them a check. Never ever give them this electronically withdrawal crap, all right? Because they'll pester you forever. This check, well, I won't tell you what to do about that, but here we go. Payday loans are expensive. Lenders usually charge from $15 to $30 for every $100 borrowed. That's $30 for every $100. That's 30%. And you're doing this on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. On a typical 2-week payday loan, a fee of $15 per 100 translates to an annual percentage rate of 391%. Yep. And credit cards are at 30 to 35%. You tell me, who are the biggest out there? This group. They're just sleazy. They're just used car salesmen with a retail shop. They're horrible. The APR tells you how much it costs you to borrow money for 1 year. By comparison, in the first quarter of 2023, the average APR for a credit card is just under 21%. That's average, okay? But keep in mind, I suspect these are low-income individuals, or maybe they're illegal aliens and not from outer space, and they're using this mechanism and they're being taken advantage of. All right, I'm not going to go down the road as to the chicken or the egg kind of deal, but here we have this industry that's satisfying some need, but I suspect that even with all the regulations, they're just still horrible people. Here's how a typical payday loan works. You want to borrow $500. The lender offers you a 2-week loan. The fee is $15 for every 100 you borrow. Your fee will be $75. 15 times 5 is equal to 75. You give the lender a check for $575, or you authorize the lender to electronically debit your bank account. The lender gives you $500 in cash. Sounds pretty good, yeah? 2 weeks later, you owe the lender $575. The lender will either debit your bank account, cash your check, or take cash or another form of payment from you, depending on how you agreed to repay the loan. The bottom line is you paid $75 to borrow $500 for 2 weeks. Wow. Costs increase with rollovers. If you can't repay the loan when it's due, many lenders will let you extend the due date for another 2 or 4 weeks. But you have to pay the fees that are due, plus a new fee to extend the due date. It's called a rollover. Each time you roll over the loan, the lender will charge you a new fee and you'll still owe the entire original loan amount. With rollovers, the cost of the loan goes up very quickly. Using the example above, on the original due date, you don't repay the $500 loan. Instead, you pay only the $75 fee and roll over the $500 loan for another 2 weeks. The rollover will cost you another $75. 2 weeks after rolling over the loan, you will still owe the lender $500 for the loan plus the new $75 fee. The bottom line is the cost of the original $500 loan has gone from $75 to $150 due to the rollover. Horrible, horrible, horrible. If you roll over the loan several times, you may pay hundreds of dollars in fees and still owe the original amount you borrowed. Yep, it's a vicious cycle. What to know about car title loan? Yeah, even with regulations, there's a sleaze factor everywhere in the world, and this is just sleaze times 3. Car title loans, often just called title loans, are also short-term loans. They typically last 15 or 30 days. The loans use your car, truck, motorcycle, or other vehicles as collateral. They're usually for amounts ranging from 25 to 50% of the vehicle's value. To get a car title loan, you must give the lender the title to your vehicle. Usually, you need to own the vehicle free and clear, but some lenders will take your title if you paid off most of the vehicle loan. The lender will want to see the vehicle, a photo ID, and proof of insurance. Many lenders also want a duplicate set of keys for the vehicle. Yeah. Not a pretty picture. If you get the title loan, you won't get your vehicle title back until you repay the loan and all the other fees. Car title loans are expensive. Title loans often have monthly finance fees as high as 25%, which translates to an APR of about 300%. Shameful. Title lenders often add other charges to the loan, like processing, document, and loan origination fees. You also have to buy add-ons, like a roadside service plan. If you have to pay added fees and buy add-ons, the cost of your loan will be significantly higher. Here's an example. You want to borrow $1,000 for 30 days. The finance fee is 25%. That means that you have to pay $250 to borrow $1,000. You give the lender the title to your car, and the lender gives you $1,000 in cash. When it's time to repay the lender in 30 days, you must pay $1,250 plus any other fees the lender charges. I've heard of hard money fees. This is just over the top. Costs increased with rollovers. Similar to these payday loans, you can do the exact same thing with the title loans, and you can just see that they're going to continue to up the cost to you. You're going to pay the minimum amount similar to a credit card, and the interest fees and the processing fees and the so on and so forth are just going to rip into your finances. You're going to lose the car, and you're still going to owe these guys money. Then you're going to be peppered with these collection agencies that are sleaze factor 3. You can see Frugal Finance. This is about protecting your rear end. This is trying to avoid at all costs these horrible companies. You can lose your vehicle. If you can't repay the money you owe, the lender may repossess your car, even if you're making partial payment. When you get the loan, some lenders insist on installing GPS and starter interrupt devices so they can locate the vehicle and disable its ignition system. Yeah. Who's in control here? Possible alternatives to payday and car title loans. Work, plain and simple. You're going to have to work your tail off. That means you need to find a full-time job and you need to work overtime. And if not, you need to find a part-time job in addition to your full-time job. There's no sacrifice. You got yourself in this position. Something happened, and now you need to solve the problem. It's not going to be easy. Life is not simple, complex. 2, find other resources. There's credit unions, banks, and then there's these sleaze factors. Try to figure out what the values are, what your net worth is, and try to find some other resources. Hell, a credit card's even better than these horrible programs here, even if you take cash out. I don't recommend it, but apply for credit card. Now, if you're in the United States illegally, you know you're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that's why these crooks are out there. They're facilitating a need, and you are the victim. You have a couple choices. You can hang out here, or you can revert and go back to where you came from and deal with that, or you can find some. You can petition you can petition to be in the United States legally. You can get a green card, and then your ability to borrow and use the appropriate tools available to you with a green card, then you're going to save a sizable amount of money. You can check with your bank systems. You can go in and talk to the folks at the various banks. My suggestion is you stop spending. I know. You have legal requirements. You have shelter, you have food, you have kids, you have to take care of that. You could look into different government-sponsored programs that may help you out in terms of food and shelter and different programs out there that may provide you some short-term help. Use your tax refund. Well, that's sort of contradictory, and I suspect quite a few of the individuals that use these programs are not U.S. citizens, and subsequently, this is a moot point. You can get help managing debt. Again, I don't really believe in these credit counseling programs. Why? Well, because they charge you a fee. Sort of a contradiction. What I suggest is you look at what you're spending your money on, and then you just freeze everything. That means you just minimize everything in your life, even with your kids, and explain it to them. Look, it's some tough times. We're going to cut back. We're going to go to the library, and you're going to read or do what you have to do at the library instead of watching TV. And you get rid of cell phone. Get rid of the stuff that caused you to get in this place. And then managing, here's the big problem. A lot of this is a result of the healthcare system. I have many videos on this, but here's a suggestion if it's medically related and you're in a hardship situation. You call up and you ask for the accounts payable department and you say hardship. They have programs designed specifically for this purpose. Some of them are sponsored by the U.S. government. And hardship, they can write off the majority of the debt. But one, you have to know how to go about it. Two, you need to be patient. And three, you need to be persistent. Keep in mind, the healthcare industry has zillions of people working, and you have to be in a position to speak intelligently. You need to know what the medical charges are, and you have to be able to reconcile that information. You're going, Williams, what are you talking about? Look, that's the way the world works. You have to know what's going on. You have to understand all those friggin' codes, the endless number of medical codes that are foreign to you. Well, you can actually go online. And if you're listening to this, you're online. And then you're going to need to go in and you're going to have to do some research, and you're going to have to query the medical codes. And there's two different types, and I forget what they are, but they're available online. You're going to have to do your research, and then you're going to just be overwhelmed. Because the medical industry does this on purpose, sort of like the accounting and legal sector. They make accounting and legal so complicated that the average person's just going to go, well, where do I start? Well, you're going to have to start at the very beginning, and it takes time. And you're going to talk to a lot of rude people. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works, because they've been doing it forever, and you don't know what they're talking about. So be persistent, be patient, and then be demanding. But but be nice. Just be nice, okay? It will piss you off beyond all means. If that's the case, keep notes. End the conversation pleasantly. Take a deep breath, walk away, and come back to it either 4 or 5 hours later or the next day. Be patient and give yourself 30 days in order to try to resolve the issue. What information to look for when applying for a payday car loan? Well, federal law treats payday and title loans like any other type of credit. Lenders must tell you the cost of the loan in writing before you sign the loan agreement. They must tell you the finance charge, which is a dollar amount, and the APR, which is a percentage. Average percentage rate. That is the percentage you're being charged on an annual basis. It gets confusing because when you're going to walk into one of these places, they're going to say, oh, the interest rate, it's only 25%. And you're thinking, oh, well, look, credit cards are 30, not a big deal. That is 25% for a 2-week period. APRs annual. When you're talking to these folks, say, what's the annual percentage rate? And if they and ah and they say it's 25%, I can put it in writing. I want the average percentage rate and give them a hypothetical. Say, what if I roll this thing over 5 times? They have to be straight up with you or you file a complaint. And again, you're saying, I don't have time for that. Well, you're going to walk in here and get one of these horrible loans. You better be armed and prepared, and you better be knowledgeable. The APR is based on how much money you borrow, the monthly finance charge, the fees you'll have to pay, and how long you borrow the money. Use the APR to compare the cost of borrowing money from different lenders. It's the clearest way to see how expensive loans are. And also, there are state attorney general and state regulators. I'm not going to go down. I'm in California, and the regulations are much more stringent than in other states, but nonetheless, you're still going to have to deal with this stuff. Also, there's some protection for military service members, and then if you find yourself in a position where it's fraud or deception, there's resources. As I continue to say, read it if you need it. You can see all the different links here. You can see all the resources provided by the Federal Trade Commission. This is not my wording. This is Federal Trade Commission on Consumer Advice, another great resource that I provide to you in order to try to help you out when things get really bad. Hope that helps. Comment. Tell me your experiences with these deals. Tell me, you can be discreet. Just tell me if you're a U.S. citizen or if not, and if so, do you have a solution? Do you have a better way to do this? Williams out. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped. See you soon.